I know is probably gonna be like 20 minutes long. But that doesn't mean that you stop watching this. I'm already giving you a disclaimer. I think I might even put this at the beginning of the video. Watch every single second because it's important, my love. It's important for you to read, to listen to watch all of this. What is up? What is happening, everybody? It is Jania here with a new series. Yay! Yes, a new series. It's called Turn the Page, as you can see by these books here. So the idea is that you turn the page with the book as well as the page in your life. So we are in February, and I decided what better kind of book to start this series than one based on Black History Month. So I decided to borrow the book called Why We Can't Wait by Martin Luther King. Hopefully you can see this. And oh my gosh, words can't describe really how this book speaks to you and spoke to me. Because on the one hand, this easily could have been me. You know, going back in the 60s, the civil rights movement in America, and especially Alabama, this in particular from Birmingham, Alabama, where segregation was very, very alive in that state. And so reading this, it was extremely encouraging because of the mentality and the person that Dr. Martin Luther King was, as well as the partners that he worked alongside, and the hundreds and eventually thousands of Black Americans that marched for this movement and had such victory and experienced such wonderful change. And from the very beginning, you open it up, and the foreword is to his children. It says, Yolanda, Martin III, Dexter, Bernice, for whom I dream that one day soon they will no longer be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And I've heard that quote so many times, but to see it as one of the very first things I read in this book, I was already so filled with very raw emotion, because this book was tough to read in the sense of the reality that these Americans lived back in those days. And the sad thing about it is that it continues right now. Maybe not to that extent, but it is very much alive and well, which is so heartbreaking, because here you had people who couldn't even sit at the lunch table with their white colleagues because of the color of their skin. You had people who couldn't go into the same dressing rooms or changing rooms in department stores because of the color of their skin. Young children who are just so eager to learn couldn't go to the public library because of the color of their skin, because public didn't mean that it was for everybody. There was always this underlying tone saying, you know, really it's for a certain kind of people, and you're just not allowed. So yes, like I said, it was hard to read. It was really hard to read, but at the same time it's also very rewarding because of the way that Dr. King and his partners handled it. The grace and the control, the self-control they had in themselves to rise above the negativity that just constantly poured in left and right. The way that they always stayed positive and believed in God, and you know, would always know that they were taken care of, especially in the times when they went to jail, when there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Black Americans in jail just because they were marching, because they were peacefully protesting. And then people trying to figure out, how in the world am I going to be released? Who's going to pay my bond? But, the money was found. There are 3 things that I took away from this book that I'd like to share with you guys. Number 1, there's never a perfect time. You can wait, and wait some more. But there will never be a perfect moment for you to make a change. Especially when you have so much opposition, right? You have to go out there and make that change. You have to go out there and find the time to make it work. Because if you don't, it's not going to happen. It wasn't the policymakers and government officials that created the change that occurred from the civil rights movement. Actually, it's even mentioned in the book. It was a bottom up process, not a top down process. So you had, right from the ordinary Black American citizen just standing up one day deciding, oh, I'm not going to take the bus today. I think I'm going to walk to work and not give into the law or the rule where I have to get up because I'm a Black person if a white person is to come on the bus. The fact that you had a citizen who was saying, I want my child to go to the library to pick up books and to read just like any other American. Oh, I said that weird. And just from those little steps, so many people congregated under that common cause and marched and proved that they weren't gonna wait. They weren't gonna wait anymore for policymakers to wake up and say, I think that segregation is wrong. It is morally, ethically, and just downright wrong. They weren't gonna wait for that. And then even in the book, there's a chapter where Dr. King just talks about why 1963, why was it that year? And he just mentions a compilation of just ordinary things like what I mentioned earlier that just built up to this hunger by the Black community to be equal with the other Americans, right, to white Americans. So there's always going to be a time where you have to put your needs in front of somebody else's. Even when you think of like parents and children, your child will cry for food, but if you're hungry yourself, or if you're not doing well yourself, how do you expect to take care of your child? So it's that same mentality where if you are trying to be your best self, sometimes you do need to put yourself first. And that means many different things for many different people. For the policymakers, it might have been the case that it was easier to turn a blind eye to segregation because the people that they cared about were fine. And then for others, like that ordinary Black American citizen, it wasn't okay to just be shut out. So it was a really good eye-opener to me to see that you have to make your right time, because time doesn't wait for anybody, and that's usually seen as a bad thing, but I was seeing as like time's trying to say, like, I'm always on the move. So what makes you think that you can just stand there and just plant yourself and just wait? Like, I'm constantly moving, so you need to be moving too, right? You can't just jump on a fast-moving train. You gotta run alongside it in order for you to get on without any injuries. So it's kind of the same thing there. Number 2, when they go low, we go high. My gosh, I think that quote is going to be written down in the history books from Michelle Obama. But it speaks volumes. It speaks absolute volumes. and you see it in the book. You see it in the book where from the very beginning Dr. King and his partners said this needs to be a peaceful protest. This needs to be a peaceful protest because they will not respect us, they will not listen to us if we fight. Instead, it will confirm what they already believe, which isn't true about us. So we need to fight peacefully for what we believe in. And so you had so many people just get up and march, not fighting the police even when they had their guard dogs. Sometimes biting adults, biting children. You had children being arrested just because they went to the public library and sat down and read a book, right? You had the police officers like turning on fire hoses on the people as they were marching. You know, there are even moments where you have people praying, like Fred Shuttlesworth, for example, praying with marchers before they went on, and there's a moment where the police officers retreated. They retreated because they were scared. They realized that no amount of water being shot from the fire hoses or the dogs would have stopped them, would have stopped those protesters, because they so fiercely believed in the movement, believed in the civil rights movement. And that was so encouraging. I was like, man, if I would have been there, I would have so been ready to just stand up for what I believed in and show the people that no, you shouldn't be treating us like this. Like, just because of the color of our skin, you're gonna shut us off from all these things, all these opportunities, all these jobs. Just so much was happening in the book, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, you show them, you do it, and what that showed me was that there are going to be times when you have to fight for what you believe in, and you have to show the opposition that you aren't going to offset your moral compass by stooping down to their level, because 9 times out of 10 they will not play fairly, and that's just the name of the game. But why are you going to be upset with yourself and have a guilty conscience if you do something that you aren't proud of? Because now it discredits it. Now you aren't respected, and you aren't just looked up to as someone who was just righteous in what you did, because you decided to not rise above all of the opposition's antics. Number 3, teamwork. It wasn't just Dr. King that made that movement successful. It wasn't Fred Shuttlesworth and the other partners that made that movement as successful as it was. It was also the American citizens, especially the Black American citizens, who worked together and made that movement possible. And it goes to show the importance of teamwork and the importance of support. Like, when you have people supporting you, when you have people who are on the same side as you, that goes such a long way, because it helps you believe in your movement, believe in what you care so deeply for, and it makes you want to push even harder to get it. And of course, we are social creatures. When you're going against the grain, you feel like you're doing something wrong. If everyone's exiting out of a building, your first instinct isn't necessarily going to be to go into the building, right? It's going to be to exit just like everybody else. So sometimes that's the kind of feeling you're going to have, hopefully initially, as you set out to do whatever you want to do. But to have that team, to have that support, goes such a long way. And you see that in the book. And it's important to mention that all the 3 things that I mentioned and everything else that's in the book came from the anchor that they all had in God and in Christianity. That really tied them together. That helped them continue to renew their strength and to stay positive and to believe in the movement. When you had just people from left and right, from government officials to KKK members, like just disagreeing with them or like bombing their homes just to get them riled up and angry. You know, they always found solace in the Lord, and that always helped them come back stronger and more powerful than ever. And I think that that's so important because I often get I wouldn't say nervous, but it's not exactly my first instinct to mention my spirituality, just because I know that there are so many different religions out there, and different spiritualities, whatever you believe in, and I want to cater to more than one religious group, if a religious group at all, really. I just want to just spread self-awareness and positivity. And so I often find myself like hesitating when I talk about my belief in Jesus Christ, not because I'm ashamed of it at all, just because I want people to know that they can still come to this channel if they don't believe in him, because there's still so much love here for everybody. And so what I'm trying to get at is, no matter what your spiritual background is, find an anchor. Find something, not someone, but something that you can, and not something in this world, to be honest with you, because material things just, you idolize those things like money, power, and that will take you in a whole nother realm that you do not want to play around with. But it's important to intrinsically anchor yourself to something that is strong, something that positively feeds you, so that when you have that kind of opposition, you know where to turn to. You know where you can replenish yourself, where you can rest, and where you can just be for a little bit before you go back out on the battlefield. So, okay, I'm done. It's the end of the video now. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you were able to squeeze some juices out of it, and just be. And honestly, I recommend the book. I have it here. I've been like pointing to it all the time, but I recommend it. It's a good read. It's so important. It's all kinds of important. So, good morning, noon, and night, wherever you are in the world, and I shall talk to you again sometime soon. Toodles! Of course, be sure to subscribe for more videos, and like this video, and share this. Share this with someone or two that you think will enjoy watching this.